Why do people say it's so much easier raising teen dudes in comparison to teen girls? My friends had a boy and a girl, and found they were equally challenging in different ways. My friend rolled her eyes at the adage, boys are easier because they aren't as hormonal, emotional. And she was like, so that's why my 14-year-old son is screaming at the top of his lungs about not wanting to do his laundry. From my experience, parents do less for their boys. They just kind of leave them and forget them as long as they're not causing trouble. Girls? Parents are all over what their girls are doing every second of every day. Did they do their chores? Homework? Extracurriculars? Who are their friends? Why are they going to X place? Why do they have to wear Y outfit? Why so much makeup? Etc. Dad of a teen girl here. I think you actually nailed it in your description. My daughter is smart, pretty, and level-headed, but her lack of confidence, relentless need for social acceptance, and emotional dysregulation leave me throwing my hands in the air. I don't get it. I don't know how to help her. She ignores her therapist. She hangs out with people who are awful role models. She lets people manipulate her in her pursuit of social acceptance. My friends with boys report more mundane things like not showering, not cleaning, sleeping too much, being forgetful, not thinking before doing. Those are vastly easier to parent. I think it stems from the fact that parents are always more overprotective of their daughters than their sons. I guess it's the stereotype that a male can look after himself and isn't as vulnerable. Not something I believe. BTW. My favorite quote is, boys aren't easier to raise. You just stopped raising your sons. Edit sons to sons. Can't compare. But currently on the couch next to my youngest daughter in hospital because she stopped eating. The machine is beeping because her heart rate is so low it is in danger of stopping. She was doing so well at school, in hobbies, and seemed so full of life. Now we're working to keep her alive. I don't know if raising boys is easier. I suspect the challenges are different at different times. I've got 2 boys. One is 15. They are pretty easygoing, but I worry so much about their mental health in today's world. So I think it's pretty even. I think girls are better at communicating and boys internalize it. But I don't think either are easier. But I do think parents tend to write off boy behaviors and just allow it to happen. Which would technically be easier. Girls are held to a higher standard when it comes to how they are supposed to act. Which is dumb. Dad of preteen girls here. And also a boy. Girls rip each other apart at school. Mentally, emotionally, even spiritually sometimes. Boys fight it out and then move on. It takes me hours to untangle the web of lies her classmates put her through each day. It takes me 5 minutes to tell my boy to keep his hands up at all times. Thanks for coming to my dad talk. Because it's socially acceptable to neglect boys. We've been doing it for decades now, and the results of this attitude are all around us. Because people don't really raise their sons. You're expected to just figure it out on your own and seen as a problem if you struggle. Somebody I knew have a daughter and son and claimed the same thing. In his case it was that he is going to be stuck with the grandchild if his daughter gets pregnant, while his son can just drop the GF and forget about the kid. Some people are just terrible. I don't believe this has ever been true. Families overlook the different way girls are treated in the world and in the home. Also overlooked is the crime element for boys. They tend to get into more trouble if things go wrong than girls. I raised 2 girls and a boy. Can't say they were different by gender, just by personality. And we were very careful to treat all 3 the same. All were easy to raise. All doing well in their adult life. because they put less effort into raising teen boys. I have both. My son is older by 2 years. It is easier to raise my son because I have less worry about what can happen to him out on his own, going to or from work, or just not being here. I fear every day that my daughter leaves the house by herself, as I know the type of people that prey on young women. I have never had any issues raising them based on attitudes or personal hygiene. My only concern was, and still is, the guys out there that intend to harm my daughter. As teen boys, we were taught we weren't allowed to have pesky emotions that our parents would have to deal with, and we learned to suppress. Meanwhile, teen girls are treated like 5-year-olds who don't know any better about anything and need constant rules and supervision. It's a disservice to both genders. As a dad to 4 boys, I don't get it either. I hear, girls are expensive. Shit, boys are too. Girls are emotional. So are most of my boys. I really don't think there's a big difference. Just difference in the person and the people raising them. Some parents are better suited to handle emotional stuff. Some are better suited to handle other things. Sounds like your parents are less suited to handle emotional things, like self-doubt. Just so happens you're the one dealing with those things and not your brother. Not because of your sex, but just as a person. This is very similar to my own story, except that we were 2 brothers. I can tell you 2 things. 1. Everyone telling you that it's a boy-girl thing, as in genetics, is talking out of their ass. It's a confidence thing. First and foremost, and boys tend to get raised to be more confident or submit trying to be, which is easy to parent, because you ignore the ones that don't make it. 2. If I have learned anything in my life, it's that you need to learn to take punches. And for that, you'll also need to start throwing them figuratively mostly. Bottling up emotions is a guarantee that they will come out at some point where no one can understand why you are angry. Prejudice, girl, but always immediately going posture in rage isn't helpful either. Prejudice, boy, so be smart about it and differentiate. Start slow. Acknowledge your feelings in the very moment you have them, even if it is just by verbalizing your disagreement, or admitting that made you angry. To yourself, to others. Don't blame, just realize. And then you choose to either find a solution, escalate, or extract yourself from the situation. You will make mistakes on the way, but the important thing is that you reflect and learn. I read somewhere on Reddit that it's not easier to raise boys, it's easier to neglect them. Son can't get pregnant. Boys are so easy to raise. We emotionally neglect them. Girls are so hard to raise. We helicopter parent them and feel the need to impose our will on them at all times. Teen boys actually experience a lot of the same emotions, experiences and insecurities as teen girls. The difference is that society has forced them to internalize everything lest they be seen as a weak wussy. To show those emotions is to show weakness. And it's the ones that are allowed to show it. Teen girls. That would hurt them the most if they did.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.